Hey guys, this is Robert with Malai Law. We help entrepreneurs just like you start their business in the United States without dealing with the complicated legal forms. We're also the #1 highest rated business law firm for entrepreneurs with more than 1,500 five-star Google reviews. Today we are going to talk about incorporating in Delaware and Wyoming to determine which one might be better for your particular situation. Every day, clients ask me whether they should incorporate in Delaware, Wyoming, or New Mexico, or some other state that they read about on Google. And I oftentimes tell them to avoid all three of these states. The truth is, if you are a U.S. resident, you should incorporate your business in your home state and not register in Delaware or Wyoming unless you live in one of those states. We generally only recommend registering in Delaware or Wyoming if you do not live in the United States. In a little bit, I will discuss which state is better between Delaware and Wyoming if you are not living in the U.S. But for now, let's discuss why you should not register your LLC in a state that you don't live in. The reason is because if you register an LLC or corporation in a state that you don't live in, then you are going to have to do something called foreign qualification. This is essentially your state telling you that you have to let them know about the business you have in the other state. And the reason for this is so that the state that you live in can collect some of the money as well. So if you live in California, for example, but you register an LLC in Wyoming or Delaware because you heard that Wyoming or Delaware is one of the better states, then you are now going to have to tell California about the business in the other state. This means that you are probably going to have to pay fees in both states now. You'll have to have a registered agent in both states. And you may have other financial burdens that you have to pay in both states. So while you think that registering the LLC in another state will save you money on taxes and fees, this is not the case. It's also very important to remember that simply registering an LLC in a state with lower taxes does not mean that you are going to get the benefit of the other state's lower tax burdens. You will still be obligated to pay taxes to your state that you live in, and you'll have to pay your state's tax rates. So overall, if you're living in the United States, avoid yourself the headache and just register in the state that you live in. Ignore what most other articles are saying about registering in Delaware or Wyoming, because that really only applies to individuals that live in those states or don't live in the United States at all. The only time that we would recommend that you register in Delaware or Wyoming, if for some odd reason, which does happen sometimes, but if your investor is requiring that you have the business registered in Delaware or Wyoming. That's like the only time that we would really recommend that you register your LLC in Delaware or Wyoming if you don't live in one of those states. So now let's discuss registering in Delaware over Wyoming if you do not live in the United States. As mentioned earlier, we do recommend that you register your LLC or corporation in Delaware or Wyoming if you do not live in the United States. Most of the time, we will recommend that you register in Wyoming over Delaware because Wyoming has the longest history with LLCs. They're very foreigner friendly and they provide great tax benefits, and the annual fee is very inexpensive compared to Delaware. Wyoming also makes it very easy for foreigners to register their U.S. LLCs. So a vast majority of the time, we do recommend Wyoming. However, there are some situations where we would recommend Delaware. Delaware is a great state with great laws for business owners. And while they do charge the $300 annual fee, which is about $250 more than Wyoming's annual fee, it may still be worth it for some individuals. For the most part, Wyoming provides the same benefits as Delaware in terms of liability protection. However, Delaware has no sales tax, but it does have income tax, whereas Wyoming has no income tax, but it has sales tax. So this is definitely something that you should speak to an accountant about to determine if it will have a big tax implication on your particular business. In addition to the tax differences, Delaware has a court system that is very experienced in business, so you don't have to run the risk of dealing with a lawsuit down the road with a judge that is not business friendly or understanding of business terminology. So if you plan on becoming a very, very large company, then registering in Delaware may be something that you should consider. However, you may also want to consider waiting until your company is large and in the meantime just registering in Wyoming to save the annual fees. Delaware is also a state that we recommend if you plan on raising money from outside investors. You can raise money from investors regardless of which state you incorporate in, but sometimes investors prefer that you incorporate in Delaware so that the investor can have the safety and peace of mind knowing that if a lawsuit were to arise, that the courts would be in Delaware handling the case, and the judge would be very experienced in handling these types of disputes. So overall, if you are a U.S. citizen, then we recommend registering in the state that you live in. If you don't, then you will still have to do something called foreign qualification and tell your state about the other business entity that you registered in the other state. This will result in you having to pay fees in both states, have a registered agent in both states, and you may have other fees associated with having the two LLCs. You will also still have to pay taxes in the state that you live in. If you don't live in the United States, however, then we recommend that you register your business in Wyoming most of the time. However, if you plan on growing and becoming a very, very large business or raising money from investors, then you may want to consider registering in Delaware because your investor may prefer it and it has favorable business laws. So if you're an entrepreneur looking to register your business in the United States and you don't know what state to register in or what type of business entity to choose from, then click on the link below and schedule a free consultation with us. During the phone call, we will be able to speak with you about your specific situation and address your specific needs and decide which business entity structure would be best for your situation, which tax classification is best, and what state to register in. We'll do all the complicated paperwork and filings for you so that you can focus on growing your business. So go ahead and click on the link below. And also, if you have any questions, just post them below and my team and I will try to get to them as soon as possible. I'll see you guys in the next video.